writers go to the village at the north of Okinawa because they have the Guinness World Record of life longevity. And so if you go there, you could ask these people what are their secrets to live so long, because it's not only that they live long. They live long with a lot of energy, good humor. They are very active. They are very happy people. It's a place where you breathe happiness.
For yoga, it's one of the, it's moving meditation, I think. It helps you to be aware of what's going on and bring everything out. And then, as Francesc said, once you are aware of something, then the next step is okay, I'm not in a good place in life. The next step is to take action, which is always the most important thing in life. It's to do it, to really start changing things in your life.
Poetry is the crown jewel of language. Poetry is what all language aspires to. As soon as human beings started speaking, we started making poetry. It's a human function. And before poetry was written, it was recorded in memory for the ear, for the heart, for the voice, for the breath, for the soul. And I think this is what is exciting about this particular era, is seeing how young people are taking this art form and making it live in ways that we couldn't have imagined.
Have a different mindset and different technique to write all these kind of stories, but it can be any way of writing, and it can be any genre, or it can be. But for me, whatever we write, it should have some level. It should give you some kind of darshan, I would say, when you're writing a story, novel fictions, and through the story. If not, I don't see reading any fictions or poetry. It should take you through a journey, life journey. That's what I feel. That thing you know about something, but you need to understand it more, and that literature should take you in the journey and give you some kind of relationship. It's for me, the literature can be the prayer, being in the literature, reading it, keeping the meditation. Yeah, so that's what I feel. Literature should take you. It can be written in, as we say, in fantasy or magic realism or the postmodernism. There are a lot of ways of expressing yourself. All these are technique. It's not matter for me. For me, the matter is the subject, or not even the subject. How the author or the poet or the presenter is debating with you, putting you through the sense of life to you, and the thing teach you. My first advice, or first my share my experience, to tell them to read more. Read, selectively read the best article. Don't read everything from social media. Everything selectively read good things. Read from Shakespeare to Bernard Shaw, whoever you find interesting. Read. Second thing is post it. Whatever you write, post it, share it, and debate it. Most important thing nowadays, I find young people are not, especially in Singapore, not ready to take criticism. They do not want to hear anything. Anything bad or anything critiques them, they just need immediate success. Whatever they write, they feel they should, somebody should mark them, or somebody should agree them, or they should be in the stage. It's not the way. Many of you, from a lot of things, you see, they have tried very hard to be the popular or the best writer. So take your time and allow to be criticized, and learn from all the critics that you can see.
I always thought that I have the, you know what they say about the power of the pen. And I said, I have this power. I have the power to put ideas in words and present it to the world. And if I have that power, why can't I use it to change, the conditions for women? After all, even if it is a cliche, this cliche is something that is reality, that we do hold up half the universe, and then we don't sort of get what we are meant to get. We don't get what we deserve. So I said, let me use my words to write books that will make an impact on their lives, change perceptions, change mindsets, give them hope and give them motivation. So yes, my books, a large part of my books are women-centric. Subconsciously, it was not deliberately, but I think subconsciously, I tend to write books like that. My process is, I believe that if you're a writer, you have to write every single day, and even if it is just 200 words, write every day. And this is for everybody. Like you said, there are aspiring writers listening to this. Write every day. Make writing a part of your everyday life. Don't think of it as something that is intimidating or something that is, there are people I know, there are aspiring writers who I know who punish themselves by saying, I have to write 1,000 words every day. No, don't make that, don't make it to be a thing which will kill your spirit. Even if it is 200 words, write it, but do make it a habit to write every day. Read every day, read good books, read diverse topics, diverse sort of authors and subjects, but read every day, because if you won't read, you won't be able to learn from the masters, So read every day, read a lot of good books, be interested in people. Writers get their life, the lifeline for any writer is the lives of other people. A lot of what authors write about is what they see and observe around them. So be interested in people, watch how they talk, listen to what they are saying, see how they are walking, talking, living, what is around you. Be interested, because if you are not interested in people, you are never going to be an interesting writer. So that is very important. Why I started my writing workshops. So I think, when I wrote my first book in 2010, when I went on a book tour to promote that book, wherever I went, in smaller towns, in bigger cities, and bookstores, in airport bookstores, there would always be somebody who would come and tell me, ma'am, this thing is something I want to write about. This happened in my family and I want to write about that, but I don't know how to write. And this happened so often that I realized that there are so many people who want to write, but they haven't a faintest clue about how to do that, because the way we are taught to write in school, or at least the way we were taught when we were in school, was just to write, very basic essays, compositions, and then we grow up, and then we spend our entire life with the four walls of an office and write very boring, very important, officious documents. But we are not doing any creative writing. We are not writing to express ourselves or to tell a story. And so I said, I want to teach people how to write, because I think, I believe that we are all walking, talking museums of memories. We all have a story within us, and those stories deserve to be written. And so in 2010, to the end of 2010 or 2011 Jan, I announced my first writing workshop in Pune. It was unheard of. There was no such concept in India at that point. And a lot of my friends told me, you shouldn't destroy your credibility like this. Who wants to come and learn to write? And this is Pune, and it's a conservative place, and nobody's going to spend money wanting to write. And I said, I'm going to do it. Even if one person comes, I will teach him or her how to write. But I want to do this because I know.
A lot of people ask me, what does it take to be a writer? I said, well, the first step is to start writing. And because there are a lot of people who think about writing, but they don't actually take that first step to start writing. And my reading is so diverse and has always been so diverse. You take a book like, for example, a book by Fritjof Capra called The Tao of Physics, which talks about actually the overlap between quantum theory and spirituality. And that was a book that inspired me to actually write The Bookkeepers of the Kalchakra.
Yes.
Or, for example, a book like, let's say, for example, a book like Holger Kirsten's Jesus Lived in India. It's the first book that eventually brought me closer to the idea that for those times, Jesus was the equivalent of a yogi. And it inspired me to write the Rosabal line, to talk about the possible connections between Christ and India, or the fact that he had borrowed so heavily from Buddhist philosophy. You read the Sermon on the Mount, and it's almost as if it has been taken out of Buddhist thinking entirely.
Absolutely.
So I think there have been a lot of books like that. The point is, I think times have changed, And the other thing that I also realized, Neel Kamalji, is that to a very great extent, in this changing world, the hero in this entire construct is actually the story. So to a very great extent, whether it is the written word in the form of a novel, or whether it is a novella, or whether it is an illustrated novel, or whether it is a short story, or a poem, or a video game, or a movie, or a web series, they are all ultimately stories. So the method of consumption of stories is undergoing a revolution.